And I heard on the street, Taraji, you had the audacity to say you're thinking about stopping acting. We said, stop talking. Are you thinking about it?
I'm just tired of working so hard, being gracious at what I do, getting paid a fraction of the cost. I'm tired of hearing my sisters say the same thing over and over. You get tired. I hear people go, you work a lot. I'll have to. The math ain't mathing. And when you start working a lot, you know, you have a team. Big bills come with what we do. We don't do this alone. The fact that we're up, there's a whole entire team behind us.
Yes.
They have to get paid. So when you hear someone saying, oh, such and such made $10 million, no, that's not that didn't make it to their account. Know that off the top, Uncle Sam is getting 50%.
That's right.
Okay? So do the math. Now we have 5 million. Your team is getting 30% or whatever your team is off of what you grossed.
Sometimes
not
more.
after what Uncle Sam took. Now do the math. So
You're tired.
I'm only human, and it seems every time I do something and I break another glass ceiling, when it's time to renegotiate, I'm at the bottom again, like I never did what I just did, and I'm just tired. I'm tired. I'm tired.
I get that.
It wears on you, you know? Because what does that mean? What is that telling me?
What is it telling me? Yeah. And what does it tell me? Yeah.
You know? And if I can't fight for them coming up behind me, then what the fuck am I doing? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We won't talk about gender inequality of pay because a lot of the women who've stepped forward, and I stand in solidarity with them, okay? What they're getting paid, which is half of what a man is getting paid, well, we get probably a tenth of what a Caucasian woman gets. And I'm number one on the call sheet. And then I have to go in and I have to hustle for my worth. That's what I feel like I'm doing. When I demand what I feel, listen, I have more than a 30-year professional career. I had a friend who said, yeah, but Viola, your career is better than my career. I said, yeah, but you can't compare me to you. Because once again, I got the Oscar, I got the Emmy, I got the 2 Tonys. I've done Broadway, I've done off-Broadway, I've done TV, I've done film, I've done all of it. I have a career that's probably comparable to Meryl Streep, Julianne Moore, Sigourney Weaver. They all came out of Yale. They came out of Juilliard. They came out of NYU. They had the same path as me. And yet, I am nowhere near them. Not as far as money, not as far as job opportunities, nowhere close to it. And yet, I have to constantly get on that phone, and I have fabulous agents, by the way. They are getting it. But I have to get on that phone, and people say, you're a black Meryl Streep. You are, and we love you. We love you. There is no one like you. Okay, then if there's no one like me, you think I'm that? You pay me what I'm worth. You give me what I'm worth. And even in terms of roles, because when I delve into a role, I want something complicated too. I do. Just like building the most unbelievable structure, a sculptor wants to build the most unbelievable building. That's how I feel, that's what I do as a human being, as an artist. I want to build the most complicated human being. But what I get is the third girl from the left.
Yahweh Bashir Yasharahla Bashir Makakatash, Taba honors to the apostles of Ellsbury Millstone, peace, citation, hope for elect, Shalom. And title's lesson is going to be Black actresses suffer unequal pay in Hollywood. So, as you can see from the videos that I brought out, where Taraji P. Henson was pretty much like in her feelings, venting about how she ain't getting paid as much. And Viola Davis mentioned that how, you know, she was getting paid like, basically when it's coming to black actresses, they make 1/10 of what the white woman makes, which the white woman makes in the industry of Hollywood. They claim that they make half about what the white man makes, and you see, that's the thing. And mind you, these celebrities, they sold their soul. They did all the whole nine when it's coming to rituals and things of that nature. But as the scriptures say, like, what profiteth a man that gained the whole world and lose his soul? Exactly. And in this case, you know, you pretty much gaining the whole world and losing your soul for unequal pay. So shows you that it's really worthless, and what, you know, you celebrities have done. And that's the irony of how, like, the scriptures mention about how a woman shall surpass a man, but at the same time, it's like Deuteronomy 28 is still in effect. You know, you still going through the curses, right? And then what's her name, Taraji P. Henson, was saying, like, what is this telling me, you know, in the video? And I mean, hello, it's telling you that you're the Lord's chosen people and that you going through the curses. And Viola Davis was mentioning that how one of her agents or so that be on the phone with her in the industry mentioned how she's like the black Meryl Streep, but at the same time, it's like she was mentioning that she should be making the same amount of money as her, like, you know, making like what she's worth. But you see, the thing is that in that industry, they're always gonna have a foot on your neck. Like, no matter where you go in this society, Esau's gonna have it to where you may look like you achieved something, but at the same time, it's like you're gonna be going through a lot of oppression, you know, on top of it. And that's the reason why Taraji was saying in that interview on how she basically was saying how, like, no matter if she seemed to achieve something, she always gonna keep going through more, like she never achieved anything, you know. Like, basically she has to go through the whole glass ceiling or whatever the case is. But the thing about it is that when it's coming to Esau himself, you got a lot of Edomites that are not really doing that well in this society. You know, you got a lot of broke, poor Edomites that are not even, that would desire to make at least a fraction of what these women make. So if Esau not doing good in his kingdom, and we're just talking about the average Edomite here, what makes you women think that you're gonna have the sweet life in this kingdom, which this kingdom doesn't even belong to you, it belongs to Esau? But what makes you think that you're gonna have it all sweet and dandy without going through things? And you see, that's another thing about these celebrities, is that they feel as though they escape the curses once they pretty much make that covenant with death. But scripture said that that covenant with death shall be disannuled. Exactly. And you're gonna further down the line receive tenfold of the curses because of the fact that you sold out and made an agreement with the devil on selling your soul. But other than that, let me get into the article. It says, pay inequality is a global issue affecting women in marginalized communities for centuries. Even in 2023, the pay gap between men and women and people of color shouldn't be more blatant. Taraji P. Henson calling it out within the entertainment business. And let me say something outside the article, and that's something that a lot of these you know, black celebrities do when they talk shit about, let's say, the industry, how they getting played. They like to always jump on a black media outlet, you know, and they like to pretty much vent after they realize that the white man is the devil. And even then, it's like they can't really say too much, so, because of course they don't want to get, you know, blackballed. So it says in the article, I'm just tired of working so hard, being gracious at what I do, and getting paid a fraction of the cost. Henson emotionally shared during a sit-down with Gayle King, and quote, I'm tired of hearing my sisters say the same thing over and over. You get tired, I hear people, you work a lot, well, I have to, the math ain't mathing. When you start working a lot, you have a team, big bills come with what we do. We don't do this alone, it's a whole team behind us. They have to get paid. She went on, I'm only human. Every time I do something and break another glass ceiling, when it's time to renegotiate, I'm at the bottom again like I never did what I just did, and I'm tired. It wears on you. What does that mean? What is that telling me? If I can't fight for them coming up behind me, then what the F am I doing? Henson doesn't stand alone, as she was immediately supported by her fellow black screen stars, including Keke Palmer, Robin Thede, and Gabrielle Union. she also isn't the first to raise the issue with the stars like Monique, Viola Davis, and Octavia Spencer, all voicing their frustrations with the systematic issues years prior. And pretty much outside from the article, you have it to where, like, when it's coming to Monique, they mentioned how she was hard to work with because there was a thing where I think Tyler Perry had it to where for the Precious movie, she wanted her to promote that movie overseas or some shit, and then she wasn't getting paid enough to pretty much do that. They wanted her to do it for free, and she said she's not doing it until she get paid the money that she's supposed to make. And then plus with Netflix, they wanted to pay her $500K, and she was actually supposed to be worth more for that role, and she rejected the money. So a lot of people were saying that she was hard to work with, but the thing is that, like, I mean, she ain't really hard to work with. She just wants to go as far as getting paid what she's supposed to be worth for being in the industry for that long and for the type of work that she's put in for the roles. And that movie Precious was actually a really good movie, and she actually played the role really good. But anyways, let's go back into the article. It says so after that, it says check out what these and other black stars have to say about pay inequality in Hollywood below. So it shows Monique. It says while Monique spoke of gender and race-based pay inequality long before it became a hot topic, her name has re-entered the conversation following Henson's remarks. In a 2016 interview with Variety, the award winner questioned the value of trophies like her Oscar when she and other black women aren't being paid fairly for their work. Let me see. It also talks about how the Netflix pay. It said Netflix quoted Monique saw what she had to offer and made her an offer. Monique's attorney sent via the official complaint, but the offer Netflix made Monique reeked of discrimination. It perpetuated the pay gap suffered by black women. Monique objected to Netflix's discriminatory pay offer, pointing out how it was discriminatory, and asked Netflix to do the right thing by negotiating fair pay with her. In response, Netflix did the opposite. It dug its heels in the ground, refused to negotiate fairly, and stood behind its discriminatory offer. The lawsuit was eventually settled. I ain't going to get too much in detail because I don't want to make the lesson longer than it should be. But I was mentioning names, and y'all could just read the article for yourselves. Robin Thede, she was also speaking on it. She even shared the video of what Taraji P. Henson was complaining about. And Keke Palmer pretty much also shared what Robin Thede was talking about, with Taraji P. Henson's case. And then you got Gabrielle Union and Viola Davis, Angela Bassett, but she been in the game for a very long time too. Octavia Spencer, and even Beyonce. But under the Beyonce's picture, it says that, and quote, today women make up half of the U.S. workforce, but the average working woman earns only 77% of what the average working man makes. The Dreamgirls actress wrote at the time, but unless women and men both say this is unacceptable, things will not change. Men have to demand that their wives, daughters, mothers, and sisters earn more commensurate with their qualifications and not their gender. Equality will be achieved when men and women are granted equal pay and equal respect. So, without further ado, I'll bring us some scripture, Lord willing, make this lesson edifying. And let's bring it out. Deuteronomy chapter 28, it says, verse 65, and among these nations shalt thou find no ease, neither shall the sole of thy foot have rest, but the Lord shall give thee there a trembling heart and failing eyes and sorrow of mind. So yeah, so that's pretty much the sorrow of mind that you celebrities are facing. In this case we're talking about black female actresses, in Hollywood being underpaid. Because here it is where you're an actress, you're supposed to be making, a lot for certain roles, and y'all getting paid a small fraction compared to what the white woman makes, and the white woman ain't even really getting paid as much as the white man makes in the industry. So that's a damn shame. And there was even a movie where Taraji P. Henson, she also mentioned about how for the movie Benjamin Button, it's called like Curious Case of Benjamin Button, and what had happened was, they were thinking about paying her $100K originally, but then they bumped it up to $150K, and pretty much I think she was asking for like $500,000, which is like $500K, but and that movie was pretty much worth about, like, the box office was $150 million, and this was in 2019. And I find that to be very effed up how they go as far as, making you get paid that much, and you've been in the industry for a while. And this is why Proverbs 23, this is what Solomon has written, the richest and wisest king in history has written this. He said, verse 3, be not desirous of his dainties, for they are deceitful meat. Labor not to be rich, seems from thine own wisdom. Right. And the reason why you don't labor to be rich, especially in the way of a celebrity, because, look at all the shit that they're going through. First of all, this is not even your kingdom. So that's just number one. And two, the Lord also mentioned in Micah chapter 2 on how this captivity is not your rest, that you have to depart from the land, spiritually. And scripture also mentioned in Micah chapter 10, Micah chapter 2, they also mentioned how this captivity will destroy you with a sword destruction. And you see, and that's that sword destruction. It will have you all fucked up in the head, because you might be thinking like you're supposed to be deserving XYZ, that you have a certain certificate and you have a certain degree or whatever the case is, you're supposed to be making XYZ amount, but instead they're over here underpaying your ass, But verse 23 says, chapter 23 verse 4, labor not to be rich, and cease from thine own wisdom. That's the wisdom that this world teaches you. Try to seek to be rich, try to seek for that American dream. And verse 5 says, wilt thou set thine eyes upon that which is not? For riches certainly make themselves wings, they fly away as an eagle toward heaven. And, the crazy thing about it all is that a lot of the times these celebrities, like, you could even see in her face, like, when they complain about a lot of the stuff that goes on in Hollywood, especially with being underpaid, they're not gonna pretty much tell who's pretty much really behind doing it, And a lot of the times it's like they look like they want to say more, and they look like they got a lot on their mind to expose, but it's like they can't really say that much because they will get blackballed by the industry, pretty much like what Monique was going through, And there was a thing where Monique used to be really famous at one point. I remember growing up in the early 2000s, I used to see a lot of her films, and she was really a popular figure. And I'm like, what the hell happened? Ever since I was in like around middle school to high school, I'm like, what happened to her? And then I realized, like, pretty much the issues that she's been pretty much speaking up against, like those that were above her, apparently some of them happened to be her own people, that were coons and sellouts that she was talking against, that were underpaying her, such as like Tyler Perry. And I'm pretty sure she more than likely spoke against Oprah too. And they mentioned how she was hard to work with. And verse 6, let me see, Proverbs 22 verse 6, it says, eat thou not the bread of him that hath an evil eye, neither desire thou his dainties, meats. And it says, verse 7, for as he thinketh in his heart, so is he. Eat and drink, saith he to thee, but his heart is not with thee. Then you got Viola Davis talking about how some of her agents are mentioning how she's like the Black Meryl Streep, in the industry. And she mentioned like how about she make as much as the, as she's supposed to make, pretty much like her like the white female actresses. And I'm pretty sure she does a real better job of being an actress than those white actresses, you know, in the industry that she was naming, and how they made way more than her. And they pretty much come from almost her same, you know, level in the industry. But as the saying goes, that how, you know, life is not fair. And it's definitely not going to be fair for Jake if it's not even fair, you know, for some Edomites, you know. Because you best believe, like, even though these celebrities are complaining about how much they're making in the industry, they still living better than some Edomites. You best believe that. You know, they're living better than the average Edomite. And if all of Esau's people are not even doing good, you know, what makes, you know, you think that you're going to do, you know, good in the industry to where you're not going to complain about the unequal pay? And even then, if you find it to where, like, you find ease right now as a celebrity, you know, thinking that you escape the curses, the Lord is just going to bring the curses even harder to you in the end times. And this may be the last precept. It says in Proverbs chapter 4, let me start at verse 4. It says, He taught me also and said unto me, Let thine heart retain my words, keep my commandments, and live. Get wisdom, get understanding, forget it not, neither decline from the words of my mouth. Forsake her not, and she shall preserve thee. Love her, and she shall keep thee. Wisdom is the principal thing, therefore get wisdom with all thy getting, get understanding. Exalt her, and she shall promote thee. She shall bring thee to honor when thou dost embrace her. So yeah, that's pretty much the most important thing, is seeking this truth, you know. Not seeking to be no damn celebrity. Not trying to seek for that top paying job in Babylon. Because then it's like, when you have those opportunities now, it's like, you know, later on down the line, you're going to be venting about some bullshit in the industry. You have your mind too fixated on this place, and you don't have your mind fixated on this truth. You know, you're going to be complaining about things like that. But at least if you have this truth, and you was to go through some bullshit like this, you know, you expect it, you know. Like, you was pretty much prepared for it. And that's the thing that separates us from Jake in the world, you know. Because Jake in the truth, like, you're going to really expect that these things are to happen. You're going to expect the bullshit, you know. You're going to embrace and for the impact of the bullshit that comes with being in this captivity. Because you already know that it's already written. It's the curses, you know. Because no matter where you go, what job you get, what opportunities that comes along the lines, you know, there's always going to be some bullshit that you have to encounter. And this is what we expect. But Jake in the world is like, nah, they just got to keep working harder. They got to try to find a way around it. They got to try to complain about it, you know, try to seek for help. And scriptures talk about in Isaiah the 30th chapter about how, you know, and well, 31st chapter about how woe to them that go down to Egypt for help, you know, and how the Egyptians, they shall help in vain. So yeah, so you could even complain on certain media outlets, even social media itself, you know, run into the black social media outlets and complaining about how you're not getting paid as much, but that ain't gonna do anything. They're just gonna hear, you know, they're just gonna go as far as probably sharing it on social media. You know, other people are gonna be talking about it on their media platforms. But is there really gonna be a solution? The solution might even just be temporary, and you're still gonna go through the same bullshit, or even worse. Because if you, of course, say too much and you reveal too much, then that goes your roles in Hollywood. Then they're gonna end up blackballing you. So yeah, shows you we're still under the curses. But with that, hold me, let's edify, let's give all glory, praise, honor to Adonai, Yahweh, Bashem, Shalom, Yasharahla, Bashem, Stop honor, Apostle, Elsewhere, Millstone, Peace, Citation, Hopeful, Lecture,